How you doing, sir?
Just wonderful. And you?
Doing great.
Good show.
We were talking just a moment ago, and you were speaking about the remembrancer. You want to discuss that for a moment?
Yes, yes. Why did Jesus have to say that he had to leave you, to leave us?
So that he could leave us a remembrancer?
That's right. The comforter, the remembrancer, that's what you were left. A remembrancer. In other words, you're being told you already know it. You just forgot it. But that's the reason for the call. Arouse thyself, O Lord, why sleepest thou? You see, we're all sleep. This is a virtual reality. We're all sleeping. This is the dream. What was it the guy said? Oh, the people who only dream at night miss it. It's the dreaming during the day and being aware of it. That's what counts, isn't it?
Absolutely. Living out the dream. Absolutely.
So remember,
So one of the things I wanted to discuss today, there seems to be a battle for the mind. You often say choose or you're being chosen for. Would you agree that there's a battle for the mind?
absolutely. That's what we were just talking about. I mean, remembering, that's the battle. You have to remember. But you see, to remember, you have to focus. See, that focusing is very important because whatever has your focus is being given life, yours. Remember, it's only what you're paying attention to, that's your life. And you're always thinking ahead of your evidence, that's your life. But what are you thinking ahead of your evidence? See, if you were thinking negative, well, you're going to experience negative. I mean, it says choose this day. What you're thinking upon, feelingly, that is a choice, is it not?
It is a choice. Absolutely.
And you will be experiencing it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Need we say more?
Yeah, we could actually stop right here. But before we stop, the thing is, what I'm finding with the community and just different people and so forth, nobody wants to work this out. Everybody wants this stuff just given to them and they want it to be received by osmosis. And all of a sudden, everything that they want in their lives, they just want it to appear. But there is a work that needs to be done as far as us choosing what it is that we desire and living from that choice. Is it not?
Yeah. Hey, look, you're going to do it until you do it right. So you might as well get started now and save yourself a lot of problems. Wouldn't you say?
I would say
I mean, that's it, isn't it?
it is.
I mean, what you're thinking feelingly about, just ask yourself, is this leading me where I want to go? I mean, do I want more of this that I'm thinking feelingly about? If not, stop it. I mean, cut it off because look, you're going to experience it. You're always thinking ahead of your evidence. And the evidence I'm speaking of is your everydayness experiencing. So you're in control even if you're out of control. But you see it being out of control, you might be building a future for yourself. You have no idea what you're doing. The idea is to direct your conversations with yourself. Direct the suggestions you're suggesting to yourself because you're doing so. I mean, you're doing so all the time. You're suggesting to your, it's just a quick thought in your mind, but it's still a suggestion. And you'll find yourself following through on it saying, well, where did this come from? Well, why me? Why this? Why now? But you made it up. If you're having problems with demons, stop dreaming them up. It's as simple as that. And I know it's that simple because I went through that. I had all the problems you probably have, and maybe even a little more. But you know, I wasn't thinking properly. I mean, it's as simple as that. I was not on my own side. That like Neville said, I don't hear that you're on your own side. I thought, what? And he just, look, very simply, it's as you think feelingly you are. That's who you are. Yeah, no matter what you're telling me you are, and when you or what you're telling yourself that you are, but you are what you think you are. So why wouldn't you have lovely thoughts? I mean, come on. Why are you making this such a battle just to talk to yourself? You understand? I mean, you're on the front lines there. Why? Because that's what you're doing. You're battling for your own mind. Look, either you're choosing or someone else is choosing for you. And you might not like that. I know I didn't. But then I didn't like what I was choosing either. And I made it someone else's fault. See, that was the first denial, is to make it somebody else's fault that you're in the position you're in. Because look, yeah, we were all conditioned from childhood to the ongoing drama and all the ins and outs of it. But if you've reached the age of reason, whatever that age that is, but if you reach the age of reason, let's reason together. I mean, you're told very seriously that you're in control, even if you're out of control. You understand? But if you're in control, we're assuming that you're choosing what you want. But if you're out of control, you may be choosing things you don't really even want to mess with. Really, believe me, you don't want to. Because you see, they expand and expand and expand as long as they have your attention. So if you get mad for a long streak of time, then you could really be piling up a lot of nonsense in your world of experiencing. You're in control. Take control. Choose. In other words, claim. You know, when you go to pray, what are you doing? You're claiming what you want. Well, are you claiming it? Because you're told, as whatever you ask for, believe you receive it. Well, if you believe you receive it, well, thank you. You're claiming it, aren't you? But do you know what you're? See, that's where it all falls apart. They go in with a ready-made little speech they're going to give God and then probably tell him how to do it. But you see, if you don't go expecting, then you don't get it. But you get what you do expect. And that's what you always get, is what you expect, not necessarily what you want. In case they happen to be the same thing, but that's rarely the case. Well, he told you very plainly, you receive not because you ask not, or you're asking amiss. And that's what that asking amiss is. When you go there not expecting to get it, then no matter what you ask for, you're asking amiss, because you don't believe you're going to receive it. If you don't believe you're going to receive it, then that's your choice. And you're given, choose this day, and that's what you're choosing. And even if you're not aware it's a choice, it is. Think about it. It is. I mean, I always hate to say this, sit down and be still. Look, I know how difficult it was for me. And that's the reason why I like to repeat it, because I know how difficult a time I had just being quiet. Well, actually, it says, be still and know that I'm God. You see, you can be quiet, but it's the stillness of the mind you're holding, you're looking for. And look, what you're looking for is looking for you. So if you're looking for God, he's looking for you. He said, if you turn to me, I'll turn to you. So there you are. It's always up to you. It's always, always up to you. No matter what we say, it's up to you. Do a thing and you shall have the power. The power. Not a little, the power. There's only one, so that's the one you're using. So if you're having a problem, then it's you creating it because that's what you're doing. As you think you are, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, so does he, so has he, on and on. If you just sit and think about what we're telling you, what we're sharing with you, you'll start getting results. And once you start getting results, well, then you don't need to bother with you anymore. If you can't take it from there, although I did forget it for periods of times, I must admit. And then when suddenly it dawns on me, well, what are we doing? Where are we going? No. And then you start getting your sense back again, your confidence. You know what you know. You just need to remember it. That's why he left you a remembrancer, or he left himself that, because he's telling you, I suffer with you, but you behold me not. So you're not paying any attention to him. You just worry about yourself. And that would be okay if you used it the right way. And I'll let you figure out what the right way is. I had to, you too. And because, look, you can't give it to someone. You can't, I could just walk down the aisle and tap people on the shoulder and they get it. No, you see, this is something you have to do for yourself. First person. It's your first person message, but you have to claim it. And eventually you will. What are you waiting for? I don't know why. I waited and waited and waited, but nothing ever happened. But then it says, it takes action. See, you can sit and think about something forever, but it's to do a thing and you shall have the power, not just thinking about it. Because we think about a lot of things. And most of it we don't even like when we get it. we say, where'd this come from? Where'd this come from? It came from right here. That's where it came from. Because that's where you do it. Look, the theater of your mind, that's where we do our work well, actually planning our future. Do you know you are planning your future with every thought? Every word must be accounted for. Come on. Every word must be accounted for. If you just look at the words that you put together and what they're saying, if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. What do you think about this?
Oh, absolutely. You said something, and you often say this, so I want to kind of touch on it. You said at another time, you either stroll in or you don't get in. Somebody asked about the Sabbath or rest. This is the key to manifesting, is really getting into a state of just knowing that it's done, that strolling in that you talk about. Is that correct?
Hey, look, if you don't get what we're sharing with you, all the rest of it, you could study theology from now to whenever, and it wouldn't do you any good because you don't have the basics. And the basics is as you think you are. That's basically. In other words, it's what you're doing, it's what you're being, it's what you're having, it's you. Because you created it right here. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, she, all of us. What are you thinking about? Do you want to experience more of it, what you're thinking about? Go ahead. It'll feed itself. There'll be all ideas if you're thinking on things lovely and of good report, things lovely and a good report will happen in your everydayness. If that's what you're focused on. That's why you're told to think things lovely and of good report, because that's you're smiling because I put that, think only on things. See, if you think only on things that are lovely and of good report and as you think you are, there it is, laid out for you right there in one sentence. And you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take DeCarlo's word for it. All you have to do is test it. Test it first person, and then it's yours. You have to claim it, but it's yours. I mean, it's an inheritance, and you have to show up to get an inheritance, don't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, get ready and show up. I think they're doing when they go to church, isn't it?
That's what they think.
They think they're showing up, but they're in the wrong attitude. If they're not accepting, God's giving. Why aren't you accepting? He tells you whatsoever. That's what you whatsoever to choose from. Can you believe that? And then he tells you all things are possible to those who believe. And you believe a lot of things and a lot of, well, I'll leave you to figure that out. But what you're thinking feelingly about generally is your everydayness. So I think that monitoring that would be a good idea. You know, I had something here. I want to read this little something.
Please.
This is by Richard Nelson. It says, people who like themselves and realize that they are God's creation are never really alone. It is only when we lose track of our own value and our own personal connection with the divine that we are desperate for others to distract us from our loss. That was Richard Nelson. And that's exactly what we're talking about, isn't it?
It is. Absolutely.
I mean, he just said it different.
Yeah.
And that's what they're all doing. Old Neville and Murphy and all these other, they're all saying the same thing, but it's what you do with it. That's what's important. Otherwise, it's just, you're just a collector. See, you want to collect more and more and more, and all that's doing is just distracting you from what you know you should do, and then it gives you an excuse, but it isn't an excuse that'll stand up, because you're still going to do what you think you do. I mean, where else do you need to go? But just right here. It's the theater of mind. That's what the metaphysical art theater of the mind. That's where we do our work. That's where we see ourselves being successful or failure. I mean, that if you just put it in one little sentence. And you can put it all in one sentence. It is for everyone, because everyone is I am. There's only I am. There's only God. And he said, I do all things. And if I didn't do it, then it wasn't done. So come on. It's right out front, but you got to get the principles first. You have to find out where you're standing from, what you're standing on. I mean, what are you standing on? It's what you're experiencing every day. You like it? Well, just continue it then. But if you don't continue it, because what you're looking for in the negative is looking for you, and it'll find you, and it always finds you. And that's the reason for the why me, why this, why now? Well, that's it. Oh, man. He made it so simple, we miss it all around. And how much simpler could it be than as you think you are?
No simpler.
But you see, now little kids, when they're thinking something, they're acting it out. See, and like Shakespeare said, that's what we are. We're all actors, and the world is our stage. And you are a star, at least in your own mind, or you should be. But very few people are actually. That's why they're running around worshiping the stars because they don't believe they're one. It's always up to you and me and DeCarlo and everybody. See, and if everybody tells one, everybody will know. That's the premise I've been working on. If you get one person to know and that person tells another person and on down, everybody will know. But there's always breaks in it. Look, if you want an excuse, you can dream one up. And no matter how flimsy it is, you can go with it. And with a straight face, usually. I mean, and we all lie to ourselves. So that means you lie to everybody else too. So, and and look, we're already told that not one is worthy. So if you're working on that, trying to be good and worthy, forget it. It's willingness, not worthiness. Like if it was worthiness, we'd all be. I couldn't imagine anything else.
Absolutely.
So just ask yourself, what do I think about generally most of the time? Because that's your world of experiencing. I mean, you have the proof right in front of you. Every day you have the proof of what you've chosen that day. And if you realize that, well, yeah, I thought that just before I did it. And I thought that just before I did it. And I thought that, and down the line, it happened too. You're always on. You understand? You're always on. There's no, you can't say, you can't get back and say, nobody heard. No, nobody else needs to hear you. You heard it. And if you heard it, Jesus heard it. God heard it because Jesus told you, I and my Father are one, even as you and I are one. So if you heard it, they heard it. Yeah. I know that just gives chills to a lot of people because it did to me just now. I just, yeah. You just have to get the right attitude about stuff. That's all. I mean, that's really what I mean. And like I said, all these great minds down through the centuries in these books, they all agree on one thing, man, is his attitude. Just ask yourself, what is my attitude about life in general? Because if you die with it, you get to do it again. And if you don't want to do it again, change it now. Now is what does it tell you? Now is the appointed hour for desired change. He gives you right up to the very moment to change it. Right up to the very last moment. Still giving it to you to change it. Because if you don't, attitudes, assumptions, moods, all of those things go right with you. Oh, you get a new body, but those things go right with you. So it means that what you're suffering now, you'll be suffering then too. Because nothing changes until you change your mind, change your world. There's no change unless you change it. And if you don't, it won't. And you won't either. Have I said enough?
Well, it's absolutely correct. What I find in the community, most people that approach me for coaching, they're not looking for change. They want to change someone else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what we all start out doing. And then we find it don't work. And then sooner or later, you start thinking, well, how do we put this together? And that anything you want to accomplish, you'll have to think about it. I mean, if it's something to accomplish, and that means it's not yet. That's what you're thinking about. Is it? Is it what you're thinking about? Or are you thinking of how to get even with somebody? Oh, man, I had both sides. I'll tell you, the change of mind is so awesome. I mean, it's so radical change of mind because it's the opposite, you see. If you're not enjoying life and you want to enjoy life, all you have to do is just turn around in your thinking and feeling. That's all. You're told as you think you are. Well, what are you thinking about? And I can tell you what you're thinking about. I listen to you talk. I hear people in private interviews that they're instructing God on how to do what they ask for. Well, if they know how to do it, why don't they do it themselves? I mean, if they're instructed, I can't believe that people want a God they can instruct. I mean, unreal. It is absolutely unreal. Yeah, actually, that all of this is unreal. It's just a virtual reality. In other words, everything here goes. Is there anything stays? Anything at all? I think I tell you every time about the mount, about the what they built the pyramids to last forever, and they're under constant maintenance. So, see, nothing here is permanent. Everything here goes away. If you're looking for permanence, that's bring heaven on earth. And that's what you're told to do, isn't it?
Yep.
Bring heaven on earth. If it isn't heaven, what is it? See, I thought it was impossible too, because I didn't even know what heaven was. And actually, I'm still figuring it out. But I'll tell you one thing, it is one journey. And you know, especially the people around you, you'd like to tell them, but you know, I really did get a taste of what Jesus had to go through with his own family. And he says to his mother, Mother, what am I to do with you? Because she's, well, how come your brothers aren't? Now, come on. Yeah. And it is a battle. I mean, actually, we're the battle makers.
True.
See,
True.
yeah, see, that's what you understand. Like I say, Pogo, the comic strip, I have found the enemy and he is I. It is me right here, right now, the enemy. I'm going around with him, chumming with him here and there, and he's the enemy. Come on. Can you choose your next thought? You say you can. Suggestion, don't stop. Because there's thousands and thousands of thoughts to go through every day, but you have to choose. It's you're here to direct your own inner conversations, because that's how your world is made. That's how your future is set up, because what you're saying isn't falling into the past. I was relieved to think it always fell in the past, but it didn't. It showed up in my future, and everything will show up in you. Nothing gets missed. You see, because it states it very plainly. Every word. I think I think that covers the whole thing, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, every word. Now just think of this. Everything you're saying, Jesus hears it, God hears it, and it's recorded. So you can't even deny you didn't say it. But you see, that's why we were left in innocence, so that we could know the differences that make a difference. And the difference that makes a difference is always with you, but you have to choose it. And you do know it because you were left a remembrancer. So that means you did know, but you forgot. But you can remember if you'll sit and focus, because what has your attention has your life. That statement alone tells you a story, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. What has your attention has your life. Absolutely.
So seems like it would be pretty easy to enjoy life if you're thinking on things that are lovely and of good report, and you do so consistently, persistently. I know you're not on all the time. Okay, you are, but you're not aware of being on all the time. But what you are thinking and feeling about is also looking for you. See that. In other words, I don't care how secretly you say it. If you heard it, that's all that's necessary, because it's your word. See, you were given choose this day. And that's just it. You are doing so. But if you're not aware of it, look out. Oh man, I can tell you about some experiences, but I won't.
Now, you know you're free to.
No, 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 no. I got a bad enough reputation anyway. But the point is, look, you can change your mind and change your world. I mean, God gave you that to do that. See, it's yours right now. Right now. Now it is with you. Do so, and you'll experience so. And that's a guarantee. Whatever you're thinking feelingly about, you're going to experience. Yeah, see, that makes you shake in your boots. You know, what have I done? What have I not? I have people say that to, well, they say, what have I said? What have I done? Well, just cancel it.
Yeah.
You got a button on the computer thing. You just cancel it, delete. But do it completely. Let it, don't let it go. Don't think about it even for a few minutes. Just thinking about something you don't want to experience even for a few minutes, it is sent out, and is drawing to it like images in your mind that are negative or positive. But which are you thinking about? See, it's that simple, but you have to keep it simple, because if you don't keep it simple, you don't remember it. And I can tell you, I've asked people, coming out of church, what was the sermon about today? Huh? Oh, he said something about, I don't know. Yeah, see, it sounds like I'm making fun of it, but I ain't. Believe me, believe me. I feel so sorry for them that it's right with them, right in front of them, and they don't see it. And they're making it up as we speak. It's always with you, but you have to shape it. You are the sculptor of your life, and you have to shape things. And you shape them by thinking. Thinking what? Well, that's the point. What are you thinking about? Because that's what you're going to experience. It isn't falling into the past. I thought that before. I mean, it was really simple. I was in love with running off negative nonsense, and it wasn't going into the past. I met it in the future. And I said, wow, I got rid of that. No, actually, it's just a little flash in your mind thinking about it, just for a moment. But that's all it takes to keep it alive.